So Americans have Groundhog. Fuck me. Americans have Groundhog Day to predict the weather. Brits just watch St Swithin's Day and assume it'll rain anyway.
What?
Do you not know what St Swithin's Day is?
No. Should I?
It's your holiday, not mine.
And what's the holiday about?
Well, you're just going to have to stay for the episode to find out. Let's get into this.
I don't want to stay. This is boring. Hello, welcome to Two Sides of the Pond. I'm Matthew. It's Dwayne. And today, apparently, he's going to teach me something about something the UK does and something, and I don't know.
I don't understand you sometimes. There are so many things that I'm teaching you about the UK.
Name one other thing.
Pancake Day.
What about Pancake Day?
Exactly. There have been a couple of things where I'm like, oh, we'll talk about this, and you're like, is that something you do? And I'm like, no, that's something you do. That's something you do, not me.
Okay. All right. So what are we talking about today? What's it called?
St Swithin Day.
St Swithin.
Yes.
Right. And
so it's celebrated on July 15th.
Okay.
Okay. And
damn, we're in July. Whew.
Yeah, we are. So for St Swithin Day, what people in England will do is listen. Shut up. If it rains that day, theory is it will rain for the next 40 days. It's like this weather thing. There's no scientific way to back it up.
Evidently.
Back it up. But so the day honors St Swithin, an English bishop who is said to have prophesied that weather on his feast day would predict the weather for the next month and a half.
Right. Okay.
All right. And we have something similar called Groundhog Day. But our Groundhog Day isn't until, it was February 2nd this year for us.
Okay.
And Groundhog Day predicts whether or not we'll have 40 more days of winter, or a handful of days of winter, and when spring actually starts. Which,
so what did it predict for this year?
I don't know, to be honest.
And was it right?
I have no idea. Well, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. I mean, there's a 50% accuracy.
This whole conversation doesn't really matter, to be honest.
However, I almost want to say it kind of has to do with, the first day of spring is always the same, regardless, for us. Right? So, in theory, one would think that this would really predict how our calendars would change when spring starts, how many days until Easter, how many days until X, Y, and Z, right? But that's really not the case. It's just another made-up thing where a groundhog looks up out of the hole. His name is Phil, by the way, the groundhog. The groundhog has a name. There's a parade. There are festivities for this.
Of course, there's always a parade. There's always beads. There's always someone getting their titties out. It's just America. It's the norm.
We had a party, apparently. But if the groundhog sees its shadow, then we have so many more days of winter. And it happens in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. So because it's in Pennsylvania and the name of the town is Punxsutawney, they've named him Phil. So Punxsutawney Phil. If he pops his head out, sees his shadow, we have so many more days of whatever. But 6 more weeks of winter is what it is, which is 40 days, roughly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So for St. Swithin's Day, if it rains that day on St. Swithin's feast day, then it'll rain for the next 40 days. Which it rains there all the time anyway.
Yeah. So we have multiple of these days or something? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I have no idea how that works, but I thought you'd be able to educate me on this, to be honest.
No, I do.
We
don't have 4 seasons. We have 1 season.
You have 2 seasons. Give yourself some credit.
1.5.
What season will I be there? Was I there in?
Technically, you'll be here in spring.
Technically, but
whether it'll be spring, I don't know. It might still be winter because it's still cold here, to be honest. Although it has warmed up, but it's still yeah. Based on the date we're actually having this conversation, it's still quite cold here, and it shouldn't be.
Okay, and I am prepared now officially for it to rain on that day because I got sent to me in the mail a brand new umbrella. So, do you call these umbrellas?
Yes.
What's a welly? What's a welly?
A welly is a boot.
Okay, so like a waterproof boot?
Yeah, Wellington boot.
Okay. Based off of like Kleenex is really just a brand of a tissue, or
yes,
Q-tip is a brand of a cotton swab. All right. So then you call them brellies?
Brawley.
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 So you just change the vowel in there and everything, huh?
Yeah, just shorter version, isn't it? Because umbrella doesn't really have the same sort of ring, but a brolly, that works.
Yeah, right there with the lorry.
Yeah, I don't know if it's used throughout the whole country. That's the fun thing. When I point out certain words that you use, we have angry people in the comments saying, "Oh, we never say that in this country. Oh, shut this Brit up. He doesn't know what he's talking about." It's like, well, you don't speak for the whole country, Cupcake. You know, there's lots of different areas of the UK, and there are several things that are said only in some areas. Mm-hmm. So I'm only reflecting on what gets said in the Southwest. You know, I don't really care what gets said in the North. Right, it's a different part of the galaxy as far as I'm concerned, you know. But yeah.
Well, I met someone from Liverpool recently who was very sweet and very kind. Ooh. And when we were talking, I had said to him, "Hey, you're actually one of the nicest people from England I've met." And he said it's because he's from the north, which, according to one of our previous episodes, you had pointed out.
Yep.
Like, people from the north are nice and chatty and just overall kind.
Yes, and better than the southerners.
Once you hit London and below, not so much.
Yes.
So how do you deal with the rain? What?
Get wet. But that's the interesting thing. A lot of people, when they visit the UK, they come to London. They don't think of anywhere else. They just think, oh, London.
Right.
That's the UK. The UK is London. You know, that's the sort of the mindset that a lot of people have. Which goes against your comment of like some people don't know where London or where Heathrow Airport is. It's like everyone should know where Heathrow is. Like Christ, it's one of the most popular airports in the world. But people don't see the rest of the country. You don't think of seeing it. You know, there's so much more to see. That's like people only going to like New York and never to the rest of the US. You know, it's bad, but yeah. And London's not exactly the highlight of this country either.
Yeah,
you know, it's barely British around there these days as well. So there's that. So if you're trying to look at British culture, London ain't the place to go. It's not. You know, it's very, very mixed culture there these days. So it's not. You know, the way that it was back in the day. So if you're wanting to experience true British culture, you need to venture out of the main city and go to other places in the country.
Which is what we're doing, which is really nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see a nice mixture of stuff, which is what I think most tourists won't do because they don't have me as a tour guide. They're not that lucky.
It'll be good. So how often in a 7-day period would you say it rains there?
The majority.
Really? Like
more
than 3?
Most days.
Now, is it like Florida rain? Where Florida rain at 2:00 in the afternoon, you can almost set your watch by it. Where it will downpour, there might be a rolling thunderstorm that comes in, and then 20 minutes to a half an hour later, it's like it never happened.
No. When it rains here, you know it, and you know that it has rained.
And it's like a day event.
Yeah, it might be on and off throughout the day. You might get some short showers. You might get some bigger downpours, but generally speaking, it can be raining for several days on end. just continuously throughout the day, more or less.
So now I'm curious if there's seasonal depression because of that.
Well, we're always miserable, so.
Well,
But
so
it is true. We are. I said it before. I find people in Florida are a lot happier, and I put that down to the weather because it's sunny, it's warm.
I can only take your word for that because I don't know too much about outside of
your house,
this part of the United States.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
the weather here is not good. It's not.
I also live in a bubble, so we have to keep that in mind. I live in a bubble of tourists. 90% of my week, I go to places that have a lot of tourists. So I am around people from all around the world, and I could tell if you're a Northeasterner or a Westerner. I could tell by having a 2-minute conversation with you where you're roughly from or where you're not from. So I don't know very many people who are born and raised Floridian, which I am not.
No.
Oh, no.
You're an illegal immigrant.
Give it a couple of more weeks and that might be true.
It might be.
With what's going on here. Yeah. I think it's ironic. I think it might have happened once for you guys where on this one particular day it rained and it seemed like it rained forever, and that's why they've decided to turn this into an actual holiday event.
Yeah, and it goes back to what I'm saying, that we seem to create holidays for all sorts of random rubbish. Just every day is some sort of memory of something that's happened. Mm-hmm. And sometimes perhaps you're clutching at straws. So you come up with stuff like, oh, it rained on this day 500 years ago.
Hallmark can now sell a card.
Yeah.
And the flower shops can make some money. So, I'm curious to know if it's just you or how many other people in the UK know about this.
No idea. I've never heard anyone mention it before. I might now that you've mentioned it, I might overhear and then go, oh, I know what this is.
Okay.
But I ain't going to ask someone. No, I'm speaking to someone about it. But
I could see you have a conversation with a family member and be like, hey, Mom, have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, the problem is I forget what it's called by the time I speak to her. So that's the other issue. But yeah, I mean, it's a sort of thing. Like, for example, when I used to work in a company that does a lot of warehouse stock, and you have a storefront as well, right? So it's like catalog based. Mm-hmm. Pick what you want. You write down a piece of paper what you want, and then people go and pick it from the warehouse and then bring it out to you. Right?
Yeah, we've had them years ago.
Yeah. So they obviously have massive delivery lorries with their branding along the side, that drive around the country delivering, to replenish stock.
Now it's Amazon.
And before I ever worked for them, never in a million years, saw their trucks, recognized it, cared about it. But now that I've worked there, I'm always seeing their lorries around, always seeing their branding. It stands out like a sore thumb for me because I know they exist. So it might be a similar case with this. I've never heard this thing before, but now that you've mentioned it, and apparently it's to do with pissing down with rain, I might now start seeing it pop up all over the place, which would probably be quite irritating because I'm aware of it.
It is possible. It's the same thing when you look at buying a red car, or you really want a red car, or you just bought a red car. All you notice is that type of red car on the streets. Yeah. They're more and more. It's not because it's more popular. It's because your brain has been made aware of it. It is like in that we'll call it a loose-based documentary, The Secret. Have you seen or heard? There's a book, and then there was a movie called The Secret, where there's a part of that movie where it says, until your brain, nobody knew that there was such a thing as ships until a wise man on a beach told a bunch of people, oh, there's this thing called ships, and this is what they look like. And then the other people, because they were made aware of it, Whenever I talk about anything serious, this is what you do. This is crazy. They started noticing ships, and they were noticing that people were coming in off of ships off the ocean. So once your mind is educated enough to know about it, it's in the forefront of your mind, very much like manifesting. Like that's the basis of manifesting. When you think about something and put it in your mind, that you draws more stuff to you. So as a person of yourself who is very science-based and very factual-based, who thinks this is all rubbish, but this is the like semi-scientific fact that manifestation works, because when you put it in your mind, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm very proud of myself right now for thinking of that.
I'd love to say that. I was listening to you.
Yeah. Oh, you are a mess. Why do you make fun of me so much? We can get into that, actually, because, why do you rain on my parade? Why do you rain on my float?
Well, it's because there was this day about 100 years ago.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
But I get that from a lot of people around me. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, it's because you're easy to. And I think mix that with my wit, my fast thinking. And yeah, because I jump on stuff. I jump on things that you say. Because quite often
you are
say
listening
stuff.
To me.
Yeah, loosely. Oh, that was noisy in my ears again. Yeah, because like quite often, you'll say something, and I guess the way that you do it is it's not quite. I know what you mean, but you don't say it clearly. So there's lots of room to sort of jump on it, right, and make it seem like something it's not, or sort of suggest the conversation to a different way. That's where it's quite easy.
But it always comes out to my detriment.
Yeah. Womp womp.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't help it. You set things up. I take the shot.
Mm-hmm. And yet we're still friends.
I know.
That's great.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. Apparently I'm just too easy. You asked me to do things and I'm like, sure, whatever. God forbid the day I put my foot down with you.
Well, you have in some places.
Have I?
We've sort of fussed and moaned.
Didn't go over quite well for me. I'm still internally pissed at you about something else, but we could talk about that on the Patreon.
Okay.
We will talk about that on the Patreon because, yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea to bring that up for our last hurrah for the day with you being so busy with everything else going on. But,
Okay, yeah. Patreon conversation then.
Oh, absolutely.
More treats for our paid members.
Oh, yeah. They get really good, I will say. Yeah, no. I'm going to see what St Swithin actually looks like.
Is there a flag?
Because there's a flag for everything. St Swithin. What? Oh, he looks like a Brit. That is interesting.
He looks like a Brit?
He looks like a Brit.
Oh, he looks like a Brit. Okay. Well, I'm guessing he should if it's a British thing.
British bishop. Trying to get the glare out. There you go. He just pasty white, straight grayish hair. Yeah.
Straight grayish hair, okay.
Not smiling because he'd be afraid he'd completely show how British he is. I don't know. There's a thing about like the rain over there. You talked about once a dry rain,
yes.
which we've discussed.
Funnily enough, I was editing that TikTok today about dry rain. Yeah. So check out our TikTok. We have all sorts of funny little clips on there of things that get discussed. Especially if you haven't got time to watch the full podcast, you can watch the best bits in short format, which basically, after all the ones that we release, it turns out to be the full episode anyway. But yes, dry rain. We do have dry rain. There is a thing such as dry rain in the UK.
Which I can't wrap my head around. So when it happens, you're going to have to point it out.
Yeah, you'll notice it because you'll notice that you're not getting that wet. Because when it rains in Florida, if you're stuck in it, you get soaked fast, right? Mm-hmm. It's really, really wet rain. But there'll be times in the UK, if it's the right conditions where it rains, and you feel like you're not getting all that wet. You get a bit damp, but you're not getting wet.
I think I know why tea is such a big deal in Britain now.
Tea?
Yeah.
Why?
Because when it's mostly colder over there, and it rains a lot. So I can't imagine you not being like chilled to the bone the whole like majority of your life.
Yeah, I suppose it warms us up.
Tea to warm you up.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting putting that together.
Yeah. Although I prefer iced tea.
Yeah, well.
So there's that.
That's what I'm drinking right now, actually.
Yeah, I love iced tea.
You drink iced tea with yeah.
It's Arizona.
I don't know if I could bring that to you. I've been looking it up.
Why not? It's just Arizona. What the hell?
It's a can, which means it has to go in my luggage. What bottle version?
You can definitely bring cans. I brought back cans of Baja Blast.
Did you?
In my suitcase. In
your checked luggage.
Yeah.
And nothing happened to it?
Nah, it
did. I was afraid it would explode.
No, because it's sealed. So it's not got air in it.
But it's a metal container, so I was just afraid.
Yeah,
because sometimes they expand. Like a bag of chips expands.
Because there's air in it.
So there's no air whatsoever in it.
I don't think there can be because it's especially for like Baja Blast because it's carbonate, isn't it? So I don't think it can have air. I don't think it's supposed to. Obviously, when you pop it, that's when the air floods in.
But if you leave a can of soda in your car and it's too hot, it will explode.
Yeah, maybe.
So I don't know. Can you bring?
I managed it. I managed to bring cans of stuff back.
Of soda in your check-in without exploding. Now, this is why I am not the generation of this. Because I always ask the wrong questions and I don't get a good answer. Technically, you can bring a can of soda in your checked luggage. There's a significant risk of it exploding due to the pressure changes during flight. So it's generally not recommended to do so. It's best to pack soda in your carry-on bag if you need it during your trip. But they won't allow you to do that.
Nope.
So the only thing I can do is hope for you, because I am not fucking up my luggage for a 2.5-week trip. Just to get you a can of Arizona.
Well, get a bottle then. Find the bottle versions of Arizona.
You will be here like 2 weeks later.
I don't care. I want it now. Find the bottle there. They do bottles of it. Don't get the cans. Get the bottle.
The bottle, like the big gallon jug?
They should do a smaller one than that, I think, don't they? They do a tall bottle, but not the jug type. They do a like that
of
sort of
Arizona.
Height. I'm sure they do. I'm sure I've got it before. Maybe they don't. I don't know.
We'll look into it because honestly, I will if I can. But what I'm thinking I might have to do is buy it after I check in to the terminal through security. Because then anything I buy there, if they have it, the added on things to this, like my mental to-do list.
You asked if there's anything that I want. And the couple of things that I request, like what is it? Arizona, what else did I say?
Well,
just any sort of American treats that we can eat together.
Yeah, which I can do. That's no big deal. I got that. I'm just saying I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart for the person who like rags on me all the time.
I don't know why you even offered when you then turn and say,
because I'm a nice person.
But then you get stressed out.
Well,
and then you moan at me for being stressed out.
I do not.
You just did. You just say, "Oh, my mental to-do list. Oh, this is a lot. I got to step on a plane. Oh, I might have a breakdown."
No, not that. It's just, there are more steps than just buying you an Arizona iced tea and bringing it to you.
I think you add the extra steps, to be honest.
I do not want to fuck up my luggage. Thank you very much.
That's fair enough. I must have risked it for a doggy biscuit, and I got away with it. I brought back 12 cans of Baja Blast.
You really got away with it. You are lucky.
I did.
Because if that was the case,
yeah.
And this is a long flight too, so I'd be extra worried that would happen.
Yeah, because that was from Florida too.
Yeah.
That was when I was out there in April in last year.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's a friend that asked for it. A friend of mine loved Baja Blast and asked me for it, so I brought her back loads. She only had one can of Dirty Bitch. The rest of them are still in my house.
Are you serious?
To have the rest. Yeah, it's diabolical, isn't it? Absolutely diabolical. The effort I went through, especially now hearing that it could have exploded and I could have been absolutely Al Qaeda in the plane with this army of Baja Blast in a suitcase.
Don't worry, everybody. Calm down. It was just my Baja Blast. Yeah, that would have been good.
Kaboom! I shouldn't say boom. Yeah,
just my blast.
I might have to call her out now. She hasn't spoken in ages because she's just, I don't know, just broken as a person. But I might need to call her out and just say, how much of an absolute ass you are for not making the effort to drink the stuff that you requested me to bring back for you. And oh, by the way, apparently you're not supposed to put canned soda in your suitcase because it would have blown up. Would have been worse than the Lockerbie disaster. Brilliant.
Oh my God.
Absolutely brilliant. People, man. Goddamn.
So, yeah, I am going to be bringing my umbrella. I'm wondering what kind of jacket to bring too. I mean, the weather there is just mind-blowing to me because here in Florida is very different than what I've grown up with. I've grown up with in spring, it's about maybe 60, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, a cool breeze in the air. April showers bring May flowers. That's you know that saying? Have you heard it?
I'm disagreeing.
No, yeah. It's a saying here because we have 4 seasons up north where the idea is it will rain a lot in April because we're going into spring, and May is when all the blooming flowers would happen up in the Northeast.
Okay. So what's New York like in January in the wintertime?
Wet, overcast, gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. In January, absolutely.
That's
because if it's not cold enough to snow, then it's just rain.
But then for me, if it does happen, that's very similar to the UK, so whatever.
Right. I remember going to Condé Nast with my portfolio to have a meeting with somebody there, pitching an idea. And I had my portfolio and it was pouring rain and it was January. It was a January and I just got soaked to the bone with that. It was nuts. Condé Nast is a magazine publication company.
Oh, okay.
I believe it was in the Time Warner building, actually. But yeah, I miss New York.
Yeah.
I've been missing New York lately.
Well, I'm going to be in New York in January 2026.
Rub it in.
Flight's actually booked as well.
Rub it in.
All right. I'm going to be in New York in January 2026.
Okay.
But yeah.
And who knows? I might be there too then.
Yeah, there you go. And I'll be coming down to Florida afterwards as well.
Well. Check you out.
Yes. I'm away from home quite a lot then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been mad. I think I'm away for like 2 months completely.
Yeah.
Between mid-Jan to mid-March. Yeah, I don't
And
think
then
I'll go home
again
at all.
in 2026, then again in June for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly what's happening in June.
The cruise.
In June?
Or is that September?
September.
That's September?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's September, yeah. So I'll be away from home.
Okay.
Noisy
That's
nipping
the
again.
second time today.
Yeah, I think it's the same person.
Could be.
Making a noise on a scooter. But yeah, I think I'll be away from home from mid-August all the way to mid-October.
Wow.
With a cruise in the middle. So yes, it's another 2 month stint away from home. I'm just never at home anymore. To hell with the UK. It's cold, it's miserable. I just got back from Vietnam where it's lovely and warm, you know, so
Right.
there we go.
Well, on that note, make sure you pack your umbrella if you go to New York in January. And thank you guys for listening, watching, doing all the things. Check out Patreon where I now yell at Matthew for the next 10, 15 minutes so he could degrade me some more. So thank you guys.
I'm make him cry.
Yes. Join our Patreon to watch Dwayne cry.
Yes. See how much he tries my patience today.
We're getting there. I'm already tap dancing on it this morning. 3:30 a.m. my time. We were tap dancing on nerves.
Weird that was like you were up so early. Jeez.
All right. Say goodbye, Matthew.
Goodbye, Matthew.
Bye, guys.